Hello and welcome back to another amazing episode. Yes, amazing. I see your look of Sports Talk with Dad. As always, my name is Kyle, and I cannot call this Sports Talk with Dad without the man sitting next to me, a man who was there when the asteroid hit the planet that killed the dinosaurs, my dad, Tim.
I couldn't breathe then any more than I can breathe outside now.
Yes, holy buckets, is it smoky outside.
Wow. I couldn't believe it when I went outside today and smoke is just hanging, and I've got asthma, and I feel sorry for anybody. I mean, I haven't had an attack in years, but for anybody that's suffering through this is all because of the fires in Canada. So Our prayers go out to those folks up there.
Yeah, for those of you that don't know, that are new to the show, we are from Wisconsin. For those of you that are viewers, you're probably saying, yes, we know you're from Wisconsin. But we've never seen this before. So a cloud of smoke has covered the state of Wisconsin, and it is all from the Canada wildfires. And let me tell you, I've never experienced anything like this before.
This.
You hear about the California wildfires and the smoke, but it never really hits. I've never seen anything like this. It is literally a cloud of smoke over the entire state right now. And let me tell you, our thoughts and prayers are with the people in Canada right now. People are losing their homes. People are losing everything that they've ever cherished in the world. And our thoughts and prayers are directly with you. We right now are at 54,000 subscribers and cannot thank all of you enough for joining this channel and in watching us be goofballs and just have a good time. But we do have a request from all 54,000 of you today, which is please, with us, keep Canada and the people of Canada in your thoughts and prayers as this fire is still going in this scary time.
I've had them in my prayers ever since Justin Trudeau became their prime minister.
We're not going there.
Now.
This is not about that, old man. This is about the fires in Canada. So please help us in keeping the people of Canada in your thoughts and prayers that are going through this hard time.
Absolutely.
On a different note.
Yes.
Jordan Love is dumb.
He made a silly remark.
He told the Bears they were his daddy.
He was trying to be a bigger person because a Bears player ripped the Packers, said he was going to come out, and so Jordan just wished
on Father's Day. Jordan Love wished the Bears a happy Father's Day. So we have gone from a quarterback that says, I own you, to a quarterback that is looking at the Bears and saying, you're my daddy.
He's a rookie for all intents and purposes. He's now leading the team. Cut him some slack.
No. I'm going from Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers to Jordan Love in my lifetime. I expect more from my quarterbacks. This is not acceptable.
Not a statement that the other two would have made, obviously.
We went from I own you.
Yes.
To you're my daddy. Jordan Love called the Bears his daddy. The Bears said, who's your daddy? And he said, you're my daddy. I tell you what, I am not a Bears fan by any stretch of the imagination.
No.
I am a Packer fan through and through. Bears fans, if you do not show up in the first game at Soldier Field with Bears bibs with Jordan's Love picture on it, you have failed at your fandom. I expect that out of you. You want to earn respect from a Packers fan. You show up at that game with Bears bibs and signs that say, we are your daddy. Thanks for the happy Father's Day wishes.
He's going to take no end of grief in the Packers clubhouse because
Well, we want to talk about, by the way, Aaron Rodgers going away. Jordan Love is in France right now. So I never want to hear Packers fans complain about quarterbacks going away.
Well, I don't think anybody ever complained about Favre or Rodgers. It's in between OTAs and minicamp and training camp starting.
I don't care.
So let Love go.
I'm just tired of people hearing people bash Aaron Rodgers for disappearing, and now people are okay with Jordan Love going different places.
No, they bash Aaron Rodgers for going to ayahuasca conferences.
Okay, hold on. We're gonna get there. Jordan Love, I expect better than you. I have defended Jordan Love.
Better than him?
I expect better than what he did. Apparently, I can't talk today, which is nothing new for our show.
We're used to it.
It's a real life struggle.
And yet 54,000 people still enjoy the show.
It's amazing. It's amazing. I can't believe it. But Aaron Rodgers, I have defended.
Uh-huh.
And I think he's losing me a little bit here.
You think?
Just a little bit.
Let's go to a conference. Let's go to a conference and advocate people using drugs and calling those people who don't bums.
For those of you that don't know, Aaron Rodgers, keynote speaker at a, psychedelic concert. I don't know what it was. Something for the use of drugs. And his comment was, and those bums out there that are against this are the ones that should be using it.
I guess I'm a bum.
Speaking to somebody on this show that I've talked about on this show before that did have some issues with alcohol and in the past other substances and has known what that can do to your life going down that path. How dare you make that comment? I mean, again, I've defended Aaron Rodgers through all the COVID nonsense. I've defended Aaron Rodgers through all the ayahuasca nonsense.
He was right about the COVID shot. He was right.
Listen, I'm not going down that path.
Oh, I am.
I know you are.
Because Aaron Rodgers, I do love him as well, but he's a hypocrite.
A big hypocrite.
You can't go off against COVID shots and watching every little thing you put in your body, then go to an ayahuasca conference or whatever the hell it was, and then on top of that, play for one of the guys making a fortune off of the COVID vaccine.
Woody Johnson, the owner of the Jets, is the heir to the Johnson & Johnson company that made one of the COVID shots.
And made a fortune off of
a lot of money. A lot of money.
Yes.
But to go back and call people bums that are against the use of illegal drugs, bums are the people that have seen their families destroyed by these type of things. And for somebody who's against the science on COVID shots because there wasn't enough, there's not a lot of science out there on the ayahuasca because the science we have on any of these psychedelic drugs are skewed at best. The only things that we've really seen is LSD in Canada with the CIA, where people were literally being put in comas from the drugs that they were giving them. They literally went psychotic from the amount of drugs. All the other research that we have, we've seen that the people doing the research on them were doing the drugs with the patients. So we can't really count those. So this is new to our society. We don't know. Even if you look at the marijuana, there were studies on that in the past for sure. But we're talking about 60s, 70s, even when I was a kid in the early 2000s, where the THC levels in this drug were 2 to 5 maximum. And now we have gummies that are 1,000 milligram THC. We don't know what this does to people. In fact, what we do know is that in large doses, this causes psychosis in people and causes permanent damage. So for you calling somebody a bum for not wanting to use a drug that there's not enough study on, and for not wanting to use drugs that have been proven to cause psychosis in the brain, mind-altering substances that permanently change the biology of your brain forever, come on.
And from somebody who, let's face it, his body is his livelihood, and he watches every single thing that goes into his body to put something that's going to be a mind-altering substance, makes no sense.
I am a big defender of do what you want. I'm a big defender of athletes shouldn't be role models. I believe what Charles Barkley said. I believed it when I was a kid. Athletes are not role models. Athletes should not be role models. That's what parents are for. Parents are there to be role models for their children, and the people in your community are there to be role models, not professional athletes. But when you go down a path glorifying illegal drugs and mind-altering substances, that's where I have to draw a line and saying, listen, this is not okay.
And it's not. I mean,
saying everybody should use this stuff, really? Really? People are bums for not using mind-altering substances. People are bums for finding happiness in their life without having to alter their brains. Aaron Rodgers, I have defended you. I still love you. I still have your Jets t-shirt, but you need to be better.
He needs to clarify that statement because look at all of...
That's clearly what he believes.
You and I lived in Tampa for years. Look at what's happening in San Francisco, LA, and all these big cities. Portland, where there are drug addicts all over the street defecating living on the street and they're just looking for money for their next fix.
Correct.
This is no way to live.
No.
And
listen, in small doses, these might be able to do great things, and the science needs to be studied more on that so we know. But again, to call people bums for not wanting to use substances that we really don't know nothing about, mind-altering substances that could lead to terrible things because we don't know how people as a whole are going to react, is asinine, and it's unacceptable.
And kids look up to Rodgers whether he wants them to or not. He should be a role model or not is not the issue, because he is one. And telling people to go ahead and use something that's mind-altering is irresponsible on his part. And I love Aaron as well, and I've defended him. I've called him California fruit and nuts for years, even though I think he's very intelligent.
He is. He's smart enough for this.
He's got to be better than this.
He's getting sucked into a situation, and good for him for finding a second career. And if this is a second career, Jake Plummer went on and has a mushroom farm, not magic mushrooms, but actually like lion's mane and mushrooms like that, because there has been proof that helps with inflammation and fungus in general. Any type of fungi, which Jake Plummer could be a fun guy. Any type of fungi, like a mushroom that is not something that alters your brain, like lion's mane or something like that, has been starting to show that it could have some positive effects on the body. I'm all for you going off and making that a second career, but do not call anybody a bum for not wanting to try a hallucinogen.
So, changing subjects a little bit, Hard Knocks is about to be announced.
You could have done such a better segue with that.
I know.
You could have said, well, it will be interesting to see what he has to say on Hard Knocks. I segued for you. Continue.
Hard Knocks is coming down to the Jets.
These students is teaching the master.
The Washington football team, the Bears, and the Saints.
You will not call them the Commanders, will you?
Ever again.
They lost the trademark.
Yeah, they're not going to be the Commanders. The name's going to be changed, and I'm hoping it's something that
the Jets are getting hard.
The Jets Come on. I want to see Rodgers go through this, be on film, have cameras in his face, because he's got to take all the snaps. It's a new team.
Stipulations for Hard Knocks is you have to not make the playoffs for multiple years. You have to not have a new head coach. And there's another stipulation in there. I don't remember. But the 4 teams that the NFL can force to do Hard Knocks is the Saints with Derek Carr, the Bears with
who are the Bears?
With nobody. The Commanders, Washington football team.
New owner.
New owner, which we will have never seen before in television history, is when a new owner takes over a team, especially a team like Washington, which has had a lot of turmoil with their current owner, soon to be former owner, and the Jets, which we all know what's going on there.
It's going to be the Jets.
So before we get into this, you let us know who you want to see on Hard Knocks out of those 4 teams. And while you're down there, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get to enjoy this show as much as we enjoy making it, because the choice is the Jets and the Commanders. And I'm going to make my case for Washington here, because all of a sudden we're watching something new, because if they do it right, it's less about the football team and more about the ownership change. How interesting would that be for television?
It'd be great, but it's going to glorify their current owner, which nobody even likes.
You think the NFL is going to glorify Dan Snyder?
Okay.
The NFL runs Hard Knocks.
The ownership change. And Ron Rivera is a good coach that's just going to be about the football.
And you can include that in there.
That's what Hard Knocks is about.
But you get to go through a new stadium location find and what that new stadium will look like. You get to go what will be a name change, so you can make that a part of it.
What's the biggest story in football? I rest my case.
Listen,
it's going to be the
Jets. Trying to make an argument.
You're failing badly.
The Jets are the most interesting. You have number 1 Aaron Rodgers going over to the Jets in a really tough AFC.
Number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. You have Aaron Rodgers.
And then you have Zach Wilson, who is a very interesting human being, no matter if you like him or not. He's already a reality television star. I mean, he's made for it. You have a new offensive coordinator. You have Robert Saleh, who's a very interesting person, in my opinion. But you do have the Washington Commanders, who that owner, if they do it with the Commanders, It will be interesting because you have to make it less about the team at that point and more about the ownership change.
And everybody in the country is going to say, why are we doing this? We want to see what's going on in New York.
Yeah.
Nice try.
The Jets are the choice,
Jets
obviously.
are the choice.
The Jets are the choice. They're begging Washington to volunteer for this so they don't have to do it. The question is going to be is you have Aaron Rodgers who only likes being in the public when he wants to be in the public, when he can control the narrative. So on Hard Knocks, how often are you actually going to see Aaron Rodgers on the television?
A lot. Because they're going the NFL's running this. The story is Aaron Rodgers.
Antonio Brown was the story with the Raiders, and you saw him maybe 3 times.
Different deal. Rodgers will be on camera. I've never been a huge Hard Knocks fan. I will admit that.
The only time I ever watched it was when the Ravens were on the year after they won the Super Bowl, and that was really interesting. I tried to watch it when the Lions were there, and it was not as fun.
No. You're early with my Lions prediction.
You were a year early with your Lions prediction, but again, you let us know in the comments below what you think, Jets or Commanders, because nobody wants to see the Bears except Bears fans, and I question that.
They don't want to see.
Nobody wants to see the Saints except Saints fans, and again, I question that.
They don't want to see them either.
So the choice is between Washington and the Jets,
and there's not a choice. It's the Jets. 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 It's the New York market. It's a rabid fan base.
Well, and plus you have the team who has no argument the largest fan base in the Green Bay Packers, who will also be tuning in to watch that.
Absolutely.
And you've never capitalized on that fan base with Hard Knocks, so it'll be interesting to see.
Thank God they haven't been able to capitalize on that.
Don't worry. Next year, they're going to be able to capitalize on that because I don't think we're going to get to the playoffs, but that's a conversation for later in the show, so make sure you stay tuned for that. I do have something here that is going to change the landscape of the NFL for all eternity. There is one player that is going to either make a position worth watching going forward, or it's going to make it disappear completely. And we will tell you about that right after this break. I'm kidding, we don't do breaks. I just wanted to show him do it. Because clearly his segue was
Says the
bad.
guy who forgot to plug it in when we're doing the first run through and we have to record the second time.
You weren't supposed to mention that. That may or may not have happened. There's no proof on that one. Bijan Robinson is the most important player in the NFL right now. Rookie for the Atlanta Falcons.
Lions should have drafted him.
He was gone before the Lions had a pick. Oh, no, they traded back. That's right.
Yeah,
they traded back. They did have a shot at him. They traded back and he was gone. But he's with the Falcons now.
Yes, he is.
And he is the most important player for all running backs going forward.
He's a running back. People are comparing him with Barry Sanders, which is not fair. Barry Sanders is probably the most dynamic runner the NFL's ever had.
Honestly, I see him running, and he's a mix between Barry Sanders and drafted by the Saints by Ditka for all the picks, and then played for the Dolphins. Really, really good.
Yes, I know who you're talking about.
What's his name?
You're going to have to look it up.
But he's a mix between those two running backs.
I see him, honestly, I see him a lot more in the Emmitt Smith, maybe a Walter Payton, a dynamic runner, but can also catch the ball out of the backfield. Emmitt Smith was always that outlet pass for the Cowboys. Robinson's going to have to run some routes, but if he can be the dynamic running back,
Ricky Williams.
Thank you. He could change the league because there hasn't been a running back. Aaron Jones, maybe one of the, as Packer fans, he's been a great running back.
Yeah, Christian McCaffrey's definitely been a new age running back. I mean, there's no Earl Campbell. There's no Walter Payton and Gale Sayers anymore. Jim Brown definitely doesn't exist. You don't even have a Mike Allstott anymore with Warwick Dunn doing all the heavy lifting and Mike Allstott just plowing people over.
Football is not the running game. It's not a 70% running game and a 30% pass game. Not with the rule changes that have taken place.
Here's the issue too, right? Because you look at a lot of the skill players today, the younger generation that's coming up, they're all switching to wide receiver now.
Correct.
Because that's where the money is. And so if you're a top athlete, right, and you get to play a skill position, you're switching to wide receiver, not to running back.
Well, and the key is going to be, can Robinson last past his rookie contract and get the second contract? Because wide receivers do. Running backs get so beat up that they often don't get that second huge contract.
Well, look what happened to Christian McCaffrey after he got his big contract. Aaron Jones got a big contract and got better.
He did.
He's the only one in a very long time that's been that way, except maybe Ricky Williams, but I wouldn't say he really got the big contract with the Dolphins that he could have gotten if Ditka hadn't traded the entire team for him.
And he chose not to play for a while, too.
He did, and came back and still ran for 1,000
Yes,
yards.
he did.
I mean, the greatest football player that, I mean, he could have went down as the greatest football player of all time. He was that talented.
He was talented.
He was that.
He was never going to beat Jim Brown.
If he focused completely on football and put all the other stuff aside, he could have owned all the rushing records.
He wasn't that guy.
You're out of your mind.
No, talent-wise, he may have been.
Oh, I thought you were saying he couldn't have ever been that guy. No, he wasn't that guy. Which is, we all got to live our own life, right? But Bijan Robinson, if he is successful, running backs are going to start get drafted in the top 10 again.
Good.
If he is not successful, you will never see a running back drafted in the first round ever again.
Look, all the draft experts say don't draft the running back in the top 10. It's a wasted pick because there are always running backs available for today's offense.
Right.
It's kind of been the case.
Yeah, you plug and play. Look at Ezekiel Elliott. Look at Saquon Barkley. I mean, you just quickly replace them because they do start to fall apart. Saquon Barkley's interesting because he is going to be kind of that test market right now because nobody really knows what he is because he was hurt early in his career.
Robinson was my pick at number 6 or 7, wherever the Lions were. I don't know why they traded back. They got a running back at number 18, a decent one,
12,
or wherever it was. But you get somebody as dynamic as Robinson, I think you've got to take him because he could, in fact, change the league.
He is the most important player in the NFL right now for running backs and for contracts going forward. Because if he fails, the running back position is officially devalued. If not forever, for a very, very long time.
Atlanta I think was the best draft pick in this year's draft. Because I think Robinson is that dynamic, and I think he could be the Hall of Famer that comes out of this draft. But he's with Atlanta, so who knows how that's going to go.
Who knows? Atlanta could be a fun team to watch this year. It really could. And that brings me to playing a game with you.
Okay.
So you and I are going to play a game. We are going to play a game of what's more likely. So cue the music. So what we are going to do, that's me cueing the music, by the way. I don't have anybody, but I want to sound cool.
Go on.
Okay, moving on. So we're going to play a game on what's more likely in the NFL season this year. I have a list of questions, and I want to hear your wrong opinion on what is more likely, and most times I will correct you in this situation. But truly, I do want to hear what you think is more likely. Before we get into more likely, what's more likely? I've said that a lot, and so I'm going to move on from that saying. But let us know what you think in the comments below of everything we've said so far. And while you're down there, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get to enjoy this show as much as we enjoy making it. List of questions. Are you ready?
I am ready.
What's more likely, Aaron Rodgers winning the MVP or Jordan Love being named the Offensive Player of the Week?
Oh, I think Love is going to be much more likely to be a Player of the Week than Rodgers is.
You think so?
Rodgers has to run the gauntlet in the AFC. Every top quarterback, with the exception of Jalen Hurts, is in the AFC.
Yes.
Jordan Love could be one of the better quarterbacks in the NFC if things play out right. I know
But if Aaron Rodgers runs the gauntlet, he will win the MVP.
Yes.
If the Jets end up with 13 wins this season, Aaron Rodgers will be the MVP of the NFL.
First year in New York, I think that's more likely next year.
Do you think Jordan Love really is going to be the Player of the Week in the NFL?
He could have one of those, especially early in the season, he could have one of those great games and just lights it up. So yes, I think it's more likely than Rodgers winning the MVP. Yes, it is.
Aaron Rodgers MVP. More likely, Cowboys make a Super Bowl run or the Jaguars make a Super Bowl run?
Jaguars.
Jaguars have that same gauntlet you were just talking about in the AFC.
But they have a quarterback that is at the top of, he's young, he's exciting,
with
He had a good playoff
questionable
run.
talent around them. We don't know what they have yet.
Just think it's more likely that he runs that gauntlet because he has something to prove.
Aaron Rodgers doesn't have something to prove?
Not to the same extent.
Aaron Rodgers, a
He's young
three-time
and-
MVP,
Yeah.
has a four-time MVP, three-time, four-time, I don't even know,
Four-time.
has less likely of a chance to run the gauntlet against the best quarterback in the league than a third-year quarterback that hasn't won anything yet?
Yep.
Come on. It is 100% the Cowboys have more of a chance. I love the Jaguars. I am a huge Trevor Lawrence fan. I have been a huge Trevor Lawrence fan since he was at Clemson. I love the guy. I think he's going to be the best quarterback in the league very, very soon.
I think this could be his coming out party this year.
I think it will be. But to say that Trevor Lawrence has a better chance of running a gauntlet than Aaron Rodgers with a stacked Jets team, you're out of your mind.
I don't think I am. I'll put my money on Trevor Lawrence. I think Rodgers is
The Cowboys in a weak NFC have much more chance of running the gauntlet, as you say, and getting to the
There's
Super
not
Bowl than the Jaguars do. Exactly. There's not a gauntlet in the NFC right now.
the Philadelphia Eagles are still a prohibitive favorite.
They are.
in the NFC.
They are. But
Barring injury, they will be in the NFC.
which means the Cowboys will face the Eagles in the NFC Championship versus the Jaguars having to get through Mahomes, through Rodgers, through Josh Allen, through Joe Burrow,
through Justin
football
Herbert,
Jesus.
through Justin Herbert,
Correct.
through Tom Brady in Las Vegas.
We're going to get to that one. Don't worry. That does bring me to my next one. Which is more likely? Tom Brady coming back this year or Bill Belichick retiring at the end of the season?
I think both are very likely. Tom Brady.
This is more likely.
Tom
No,
Brady.
I choose both.
Okay. Tom Brady playing this year. I still think it's inside him. The Raiders really need him to be their quarterback.
I don't think Bill Belichick's going to retire till the day he dies. So I agree that it is more likely that Tom Brady's going to come back. What's more likely, Rams make the playoffs or Stafford and Aaron Donald retire mid-season?
Those aren't realistic. Nobody retires mid-season.
I'm asking, what is more likely? Does Stafford pull a Brett Favre and, let's say, pseudo-retire, right? He doesn't suit up for the rest of the season. Same with Aaron Donald, who was hurt last year.
Stafford retires. Stafford
And
retires.
Donald?
I don't think the
I
Rams are going
included
to.
both, because I think it is likely that Stafford walks away after this year.
I could see Donald retiring too because the Rams just aren't going to be playoff teams. And so I will go with Stafford and Donald because I don't think, no matter what, I don't think the Rams are going to get to the playoffs.
I think the Rams are more likely to make the playoffs than Stafford and Donald hanging it up in the middle of the season. And again, retiring
Both are
middle
long
season
shots.
means that they are going to no longer suit up for any more
Both are
games.
long shots.
Yeah, this is what's more likely.
Okay.
All right, what's more likely? The Lions win the division or the Bills miss the playoffs?
I think the Lions winning the division is almost a guarantee.
The Bills are on a downward spiral. Stefan Diggs, again, can't talk, is clearly not happy with the organization in some way. You lost Von Miller. That defense is not going to be as strong as it was last year.
The Lions are winning the division. So I think that's the most likely.
I agree. I think the Lions winning the division is much more likely. I think there's a very strong chance that the Bills are that team that missed the playoffs this year that were in it last year. What's more likely? Think about this one hard. The Texans or the Colts having a 10-win season? New coaches for both teams, new quarterbacks for both teams.
I think the Colts got the best quarterback in the draft, possibly.
No, CJ Stroud, quarterback in the draft. But Richardson does have the highest potential and ceiling of any quarterback in the draft.
10-win season, huh?
What's more likely? This year in 2023, the Houston Texans or the Indianapolis Colts having a 10-win season?
I love the Texans draft, so I think the Texans are more likely to get there.
The Indianapolis Colts decided to do a rebuild this year, but make no mistake, they still have a lot of talent on that team. If Anthony Richardson even shows glimpses of the quarterback that I expect him and you expect him to be this year, the Colts are more likely to have a 10-win season.
As you said, C.J. Stroud is the most NFL ready.
He is. And trust me, I'm an Ohio State homer. I 100% believe
anybody who's watched this show would never know that
C.J. Stroud is going to be a great quarterback.
You're a front runner.
But that entire roster needs to be built from the ground up. There is very little, if any, Pro Bowl talent on that team, where you still have some, especially with Taylor still being on that team. You have playmakers that can make a difference.
Badgers, Jonathan Taylor, by the way.
Yeah.
I think Richardson is going to take 3 years to develop. So I don't think he's going to come in and instantly flip a switch and be that guy.
He just has to be serviceable on that team. Because they haven't had that with any of the other. Wentz was not serviceable. Matt Ryan was not serviceable. Kobe Brissett was not serviceable.
I love the Texans draft. I think they're more likely. I'll put my money there.
All right, what's more likely, the Bears make the playoffs or the Packers finish last in the division?
Bears make the playoffs.
Do you think the Bears making the playoffs is more likely than the Packers finishing last in the division?
Yeah, I think there's a real likelihood the Packers could finish last in the division.
So you think Packers finishing last in the division is more likely?
It's all going to come down to Jordan Love. I mean, I think let's take a look at the NFC North. Rank in order. The Lions are last of the division.
Which is weird to say.
It is, but it's true. You've got Kirk Cousins is still in, Justin Jefferson is still in Minnesota, so they're going to be very dynamic. You've got Fields in Chicago.
You got the Packers are either going to be good or bad. There's not going to be an in-between.
For the Packers not to finish last, their defense is going to have to be a top 10 defense, and their offense is going to have Aaron Jones is going to have to just be a dominant running back.
What's more likely? The Bears make the playoffs or the Packers finish last in the division?
Bears make the playoffs.
I think the Packers finishing last in the division is much more likely than the Bears making the playoffs.
I think both are going to happen.
You think the Bears are going to make the playoffs?
I think they're good. Bears have done some good things.
You feeling okay?
Yeah.
I'm a realist with my team. The Packers are going to finish last in the division is much more likely than the Bears making the playoffs.
Probably. Okay.
But it's a weak NFC. Who starts more? What's more likely? Trey Lance or Sam Darnold starting more games as the starting quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers?
What a great. I mean, for a team that's that good, I think you've got to. It all depends on training camp. If Trey Lance comes in and is ready to play, I think they're going to give him a shot. So, Sam Darnold. I'm going to go Sam Darnold on that. I'm not sure Trey Lance was ever the answer. He just looked so uncomfortable last year.
I agree. I think Sam Darnold is a really good quarterback, and I really thought you started to see last year him coming into his own.
Purdy is still the best quarterback on their roster.
If Purdy's healthy, he is the number one.
Right. That's a big...
But there's going to be a few games early in the year if San Francisco's smart, especially in a 17-game season, where one of those two quarterbacks are going to start some games.
And I start Darnold if he looks good in training camp.
You're going to give up on the number 3 overall pick that quick?
I think that happened last year.
I also agree. I think Sam Darnold's going to start more games. I think Sam Darnold will be a starter in this league again and will have a decent career.
I think he's going to have the first 8 games of the season to prove himself, because I think Purdy will be back at about game 8 or 9.
He needs to show up, because I tell you what, you will have either one starting has somebody behind them that they will pull you for in 2 seconds.
Well, and remember in the NFL, every year, 6 teams that were in the playoffs last year will not be in the playoffs this year.
Correct. Final one.
Okay.
What's more likely, the Packers or the Jets going to the Super Bowl?
The Jets are going to go to the Super Bowl. If anybody.
Well, let's look at the schedule here.
Okay, let's
look at the schedules here.
Go through the schedules, because
this one I set up for you and I having some more time.
Okay.
Because this is where it gets interesting.
So the Jets, let's start with them. Their first 6 games, they have to play the Bills.
On the road. Nope, at home.
No,
sorry.
at home. They go to the Cowboys. They have the Patriots at home. Then they have to have Patrick Mahomes coming in. They go on the road to Denver, and then they have to play the Eagles. That is a gauntlet. I mean, I'll use that word
Bills,
again.
Cowboys, Patriots, Chiefs, Broncos.
That's murderer's row for the first 6 games.
Doesn't get easier. You got
No.
the Giants, which are a much better team, the Chargers, the Raiders, who knows what they're going to be, but then you got the Bills again, then you have the Dolphins, then you have the Falcons and Texans, and then the Dolphins again.
Second half
Half is a lot easier.
they can get healthy in the second half of the year, but that first half, they need to be 3-3.
All right, let's look at the Packers. So they start off at the Bears. Again, Bears fans, you need to have those bibs out there. Be good fans.
Especially since it's a 3:25 Central game, 4:25 Eastern on a Sunday.
Yeah, we're going to have a lot of noon games this year. But you have the Bears, and then you have the Falcons, you have the Saints, you have the Lions, and you have the Raiders. All winnable games.
They are not beating the Lions.
I keep thinking we have Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Then you have the Broncos, the Vikings, the Rams, the Steelers, the Chargers, the Lions again. Then you have to end the season. What do you have? You have Chiefs, Giants, Buccaneers, Panthers. I mean, it's not a tough schedule for the Packers. It's really not. You have some tough games in there, but overall,
Jordan Love, this still to me looks like, unless the defense does something something unbelievable, this could be a 4-win team.
Yeah.
And get the first pick in the draft,
which will be a quarterback.
This is Jordan Love's one and only opportunity.
So you think it is more likely that the Jets make the Super Bowl than the Green Bay Packers?
Even with the number of great quarterbacks in the AFC, I think it's way more likely.
Yeah, I agree.
Because I want to believe in Jordan Love. I really do.
If everything clicks, the Packers have a clean break to the Super Bowl. And man, the Jets-Packers Super Bowl.
Okay.
Would be...
Stop drinking the Kool-Aid.
I'm going to drink it until I can't help it anymore.
Here's a question for you. Do you know where drinking the Kool-Aid came from?
Yeah, from a terrible human being that ran a cult that killed a lot of people with arsenic and a Kool-Aid. Cyanide, sorry.
Even worse.
Another terrible poison that killed hundreds of people, including children.
Jim Jones.
Yeah, terrible, terrible human being who should rot in a fiery pit for all eternity.
Let's hope he is, but it's one of those terms that came out of my lifetime that'll be here forever now.
Biblical times, man. Biblical times.
So, yeah, the Packers could lose. I think the Packers are going to lose against the Bears. I think they'll lose on the road at the Falcons. They could beat the Saints. They're going to lose to the Lions. And with Tom Brady on the Raiders, they could lose there. So I think the Packers, if they're going to win, they're going to win early.
Yes, I 100% agree.
Because nobody's going to know what Jordan Love's got.
If the Jets are going to win, they're going to have to win early, and they're going to have to win late.
In that division, that's a tough division.
It is a tough
division. That may be the toughest division in football.
It's going to be interesting to see. I'm excited for the NFL to come up. By the time the next show comes out, the 4th of July will be gone, so we wish all of you a happy 4th of July. This has been a great show, but wait! Wrong camera. We cannot end this show, any conversation with a father and son, without the father getting the last word. So it is all you.
So, first and foremost, it is going to be the 4th of July. We live in the greatest country God has ever put on this earth. So go and celebrate it, but do it safely. Don't blow your fingers off with fireworks. But make sure you're flying your flag and be proud of the United States of America. Secondly, make sure you take the time and spend it with your family. You're taking the kids to Yellowstone this year, which is great. Take the time to take your kids on a trip. No job is more important than your family. Make sure you take the time. They need it. Kids need their moms and their dads to be in their lives. Make sure you're present in your family and have a great summer vacation.
Another inspiring message from my father.
Yeah, I didn't want to go political again.
You always do. You always find a way. And that's what makes this show fun. As always, thank you so much for watching this show. You guys have a very, very, very safe and happy 4th, and we'll see you next week.
Bye, everybody.